Izzy knows a great deal about the history of basketball, and we were talking about Jalen Brunson here and his glow-up in going into New York, and I just don't think that we've had many basketball players ever who have been able to change without winning a championship the way they are viewed more than Jimmy Butler. During the last postseason, he was photographed in Paris with Shakira, and it was surmised or whispered, it was never confirmed, that they may have been seeing each other. And then last week, and this is the continuation of what appears to be a public flirtation, Camila Cabello is on the sidelines there, and Jimmy is fooling around behind her, just taking pictures while his team is in the timeout huddle. He's just fooling around outside of it. And I wanted to ask the group, because I think I may be alone in here, having watched Jimmy all season, knowing how hard those free throws are to come by, seeing where his legs sometimes betrayed him even during last year's finals. I'm not sitting here expecting more of these 40-point games from Jimmy. I don't believe that playoff Jimmy's going to make an appearance with a bunch of 15 for 21s. And Stugotz says he's done doubting Jimmy in any form, but I just don't think you can keep putting that kind of mileage on the body and legs. Maybe
I had no idea where that question was going, Dan. You started off with telling everybody that I know NBA history, and then we go through Shakira, Camila Cabello. Yep. And now we're asking if Jimmy can be playoff Jimmy. Is that the question?
I am asking if I'm the only one here who doesn't expect it this year. I'm not expecting them.
No.
You're with me on this, Jessica?
I'm with you on this, Dan.
Yes.
I'm with you in this respect. He only needs one of those a series.
Correct.
He needs one game a series to show everybody, hey, I can still do this if necessary. Fortunately, I've got a bunch of talented teammates as well. Don't need to do it every time.
The thing with Jimmy and when it comes to free throws is if he averages between 12 and 14 free throws a game, which he's very capable of doing, that helps this team so much and slows down the other team, slows down the game. Like, I don't know if we can expect that against Philadelphia, for example, because they're a matchup nightmare for him to get into the paint and be able to produce that way he struggled against them recently.
This is if you're going to summon this thing that he can summon allegedly whenever he wants to, it's needed right now. You need to get the two. You need to be playing the 2 seed, not the 1 seed. Like, if right now the playoffs begin obviously by schedule, but if Jimmy Butler's going to do the 15 free throw thing, now is the time that it needs to be done. You do not want the Boston Celtics first.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I would expect him to do that. Does it mean 45 points like he had against Milwaukee or in those Lakers games several years ago? No, not necessarily. Oftentimes, the best version of Jimmy Butler and the best version of this year's team in particular is him shooting 12 to 14 free throws, getting to about 28 points officially, and also adding 6 or 7 dimes, because that's where, when you're getting the rest of this team involved with them, it's been all about ball movement. Last year, driving into the lane and kicking out to Max and Gabe for threes was a huge part of their offense. This year, it's all been ball movement when that team looks good offensively.
If you doubt Jimmy enough, Dan, if you doubt him enough times, eventually you're going to be right. But I think he thrives on going to Philadelphia, going to a place that got rid of Jimmy Butler for Tobias Harris. Like, I think he thrives on playing that game in Philadelphia and having a big game in Philadelphia.
My point is that this is the situation for it to make an appearance, and I don't expect them. I expect them to go to Philadelphia and lose.
This is where I agree with you is now this is the time because of the play-in, because you're saying, hey, Boston in the first round you're asking to be knocked out. So this needs to be treated like a Game 7. If you were going into a Game 7 with Jimmy Butler, you're expecting now is the time, especially when you got Philly, Tobias Harris over me, the Ben Simmons situation. Like, he's got all the motivation to dominate this one game and say, okay, Embiid, you go deal with the Celtics. I don't expect it, however.
In an effort to be the voice of the audience, I am so exhausted by the playoff Jimmy conversation. Like, this year, the Heat have just felt like very especially vibeless, I think.
But
And
they're
I'm
the
just ready
same
for
as
it to
last
end.
year. They're the same as
Same.
last year.
They're better
the
than
same,
last
They're
year.
the same team.
No
they're
Struce.
they're more hurt. They've been more hurt this year.
They're better than last year.
Are they? They had the same
Yes.
record. They had,
They
The,
had-
the
they were-
players on the team are better than the players on the team last year.
That's right.
Jovic, Terry Rozier, 2 upgrades right there.
I don't know. I'm exhausted by it.
but it hasn't even
I
started
feel like
yet.
we've done the same. Like we just did
Wait,
the
it
same
hasn't started.
seasons back to back year. Like we're doing
It
it
has
all
been the
over
same-
again,
right. And-
again and again and again.
And you're
I'm
choosing not
exhausted.
But wait
and
a
you're
minute.
choosing not to trust
But
someone
wait
who
a
has done
minute.
it 2 times in 3
Like,
years.
I understand what you're doing there, but I will say, and I continue to say, how spoiled this market is. This unacceptable season for the Heat is the best Knicks season in 10 years. The Knicks are presently celebrating.
Don't make it about the Knicks.
No, but the Knicks are super excited and loud. New York is awfully loud about being the 2 seed, Stugotz, because they think they've done something by winning 50 games, and they'll tell you at every turn that if they hadn't been injured, they would have won a lot more games. That team is the 2 seed in the conference and is feeling itself when it's just put up a season that has frustrated Heat fans. The same season. The difference between the Knicks and the Heat this year is that the Heat lost to Memphis at home, Washington at home, and twice to Brooklyn. That's the difference between the 2 teams. And it's not because the Heat are less good than those teams. It's because the Heat have not put any sort of importance on the regular season if you're looking how many of their guys are sitting out all the time.
But it's obviously about expectations. The Heat have different kind of expectations. They expect when you have teams with LeBron and Wade and those types of teams that win NBA championships, and Wade and Shaq, they expect to win championships or compete for championships. The Knicks are just happy to be there.
All right, but
I
if
mean,
that's the expectation, then here's what I've got for you. Sixers are historic chokers. Embiid has never won an important game. You've got one against them right now. You want Philadelphia out of your life? Make them play Boston. You want Philadelphia out of here? Beat them now. Beat all the Tobias Harris stuff. All you chose Tobias Harris over me. Here you go. I just think the Jimmy I've seen this year doesn't have those legs. Jimmy I've seen this year looks like Jimmy against Denver in the finals, where he just didn't have what it is that I wanted from him. Now maybe because it's so hard, Stugotz, physically on the body. If I were him, I would also say, I'm not doing the 15 free throws a game until I get to the playoffs. I've got no reason to do it. LeBron said the quiet part out loud the other day, Stugotz. He said, I'm not jeopardizing my health for seeding. Do not care where the seeding is. I have to be healthy for game 1 of the playoffs. That's the thing that's more important. So if Jimmy's out there trying to get 20 free throws, that's how he gets to the 40 points.
This is a bad time for Jimmy to rely on that because we saw this second half of the regular season, referees swallowed whistles. They're not those same playoff fouls he was getting last season are often not being called right now in the regular season. So if you imagine it's going to get tougher to get those calls in the playoffs, good luck, Jimmy.
And it was so interesting because last game against the 76ers, one that the Heat needed, Jimmy really didn't play all that well. He, I think, was 7 of 17 from the field in that game, inefficient. And the biggest thing that you noticed was Kyle Lowry oftentimes was guarding him. He had the mismatch and yet wasn't going into the paint, wasn't trying to go into the paint, wasn't trying to back down Kyle Lowry. I don't understand why he didn't take advantage in that regular season game. But to your point, Dan, if you're not trying to go through that physical toll in a regular season game, I don't care about seeding, blah, blah, blah. I'll be ready for the playoffs. You would expect that switch to flip come Wednesday.
The thing is, it's almost you don't know if you can't flip the switch until you can't flip the switch, right? You get to a point where it's like, oh, it's Kyle Lowry. Yeah, like he stopped me on the block 4 times. I couldn't get anything on Kyle Lowry, but it's the chess move of, wait, I'll do it in the playoffs. Well, now you're here. Now you're going to see Kyle Lowry in the block again when he stopped you 4 different times on 4 different plays. Like now it's here, Jimmy.
I remember the first part of the 2010s with the San Antonio Spurs, what they looked like. Whenever they won, they were experienced, and whenever they lost, they were old. That's how that one happened, and we've talked before about it's not whether Jimmy can do it once. For sure he can do it once. It's can you do it 4 times in 7 games so that you get it to the next round so that we can get to watch it again. It's that as you age, what leaves you is your ability to consistently do it. Not to do it, because you can still do it. It's consistently do it. You lose the consistency.
We already had that. We've already experienced those, and at the end of the series, if they lose it, we say, oh, Bam needs to do more. Oh, they need Tyler to be healthy. It's not Jimmy needs to do it more often. And so for you to say it's 4 times in a series, that's way too much.
Why is Jimmy the guy that we're questioning in the playoff equation
So
here?
weird.
He's done it. He's taken 2 teams to the NBA Finals. The guys we should be looking at are guys like Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell.
Because I think Duncan Robinson is more important from what I've seen from them this year.
Then Jimmy Butler.
Then in terms
Okay.
of, I've seen all year Jimmy Butler put up 90-point games when he doesn't have Duncan Robinson out there. The way that they've been playing with Duncan Robinson, I'm not saying that Duncan Robinson's a better player. What I am saying is the same thing that the LeBron James, Norris Cole Heat said about Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh isn't better than LeBron James, but he's more important to what it is that they were doing.
To be clear, Jimmy Butler did not have 90 points in the game multiple times.
No, I like this,
good.
though, as a premise for the show. Like, we just stop talking about Jimmy Butler and just put all the pressure on Duncan Robinson. He has to have a good playoffs.
Jeremy, you have been watching a whole bunch of 90.
He's not playing? What?
90
Oh, my God. The
We're
Heat are
doomed.
screwed.
Thanks for watching.
90-point Miami Heat games with Jimmy Butler and Bam out there. It's why they traded for Rozier.
Right, they needed instant offense. Duncan Robinson is probably their 3rd most important player throughout the season. Kevin Love, who just got hurt on Sunday, another hugely important player to providing offense in the way he gets the ball down the floor. But Terry Rozier, and for that matter, Tyler Hero, who we have not been talking about all season because he missed he missed 20 games. He's been great since returning offensively. He's been their best player offensively, a factor that wasn't there last postseason. So when you talk about this team and you talk about what you need in a series, Tyler Hero is ultimately going to be a really, really important piece to what they do offensively.
So I understand that, Jeremy, but the question that I have now is when you have all these mismatched pieces that haven't played together, you got Rozier, you've got Tyler, you've got Bam, you've got Jimmy, you've got Duncan if he comes back later on. How are they going to all work together? There's one ball, right? Like it's Jimmy-centric
Culture.
world, but like you can only hold down Tyler Hero on shots so long. You can only hold down Terry Rozier on shots for so long.
Well, that's what I was saying about ball movement with this team, because realistically, as many individual pieces that exist that are there that can go get theirs, right? They have 4 different guys who are 20-point-a-game scorers. That's not what it's been when this team is good. When this team is good, they've got 6 or 7 different guys scoring in double figures. They're moving the ball. It's not just Jimmy iso ball. And we've seen late in games throughout the regular season them struggle when it's gone to just iso ball. That's when they've gone through these stretches of 6 or 7 minutes without scoring. The hope is that Jimmy's able to elevate his game, get to his spots, hit some big shots late. But that hasn't been what's been good about this team this season. They are a different team from last year. It's just that we're looking at the overall Jimmy era and saying, all right, they're just about the same every year.
Oh, God,
with
I'm with
interchangeable
Jess.
pieces.
This is
Well,
exhausting.
No, while
This
they,
is
guys,
exhausting.
guys, while they haven't played together that many times, and it is going to be kind of a difficult job for Spo to figure this out and make all these pieces work together, this is when you really lean into that culture.
Oh, don't do that.
I hate you.
don't
I
do
knew
that.
the setup.
Right.
I knew the
Right.
setup when he was going on. I was like,
Yes,
"Oh, this
that's
is
all-
this
that's
is
all
All
you want to
season, this
do.
is what they do in the off season. This is when they do the training camps at the
Let
Army
me restate
bases.
what
They're
I was
different.
saying
Do the culture
before.
work.
What I was saying
right, Bills.
before,
For moments
just
like
to be
this,
I'm with
clear,
you.
that they've looked their best this season when Duncan Robinson is starting. They were like 16-2 or something when he was starting and scoring 20 points. And
Most improved player ever.
And Jimmy Butler can go through the postseason going 7 for 17, which is what I thought he was when he got here. If they're getting
It's
that,
what he was.
if they're getting that from Duncan Robinson, their offenses look totally different when he's playing. Totally different.
This is Tyler Hero's playoffs to lose. Is what I'm hearing.
I think you guys are forgetting the way Philadelphia just attacked him on the defensive end when he played at the end of that
very
game.
exposed."
They were up by 8 points, and they didn't hit a bucket in the final 8
That's
minutes.
right. And Philadelphia kept the whole time attacking Tyler Hero when Miami wasn't scoring at all. Stugotz, did you see what happened with Boban yesterday in a game for the Houston Rockets that didn't mean anything because they're out of the playoffs?
I did not. No.
Toward the end of the game, are you learning right now that Boban is on the Houston Rockets? Is that something that you're presently learning in real time?
Yes.
All right. So Boban, at the end of this game, they are up by 7 or 8 points. And the crowd gets free chicken if he misses a second consecutive free throw. If the opponent misses 2 free throws, the crowd gets chicken. He is not a good free throw shooter. He is, let's watch him here. Let's play this. He has got unusually sized ears, Stugotz, for a man of any size, but
proportional,
especially
though,
his size. Are they proportional?
I feel
ears?
like
Yeah, they're proportional.
I think of Boban as somebody who starred in John Wick. I don't even associate him anymore with basketball. I associate him with the John Wick movies. But watch what happens here when he realizes that he can get the home crowd, he can get them some chicken with some missed free throws.
Fans are getting excited here. There might potentially be some free chicken on the board if he misses his second free throw.
Oh, man, free chicken on the board.
Yeah, so that's why the fans are getting a little frothy.
Oh, they're pointing to Ethan. Boban's playing with the crowd. Say, you want chicken?
Here's your job.
Oh, he gave him chicken. He's a man of the people. He's a man of the people.
He did that on purpose?
He did. He gave out free chicken.
Career 78% free throw shooter, Dan.
Oh, is he? Okay, my bad.
He gave them chicken is one of the greatest calls in sports broadcasting history.
I think put it on the poll, please, Juju. Should he gave them chicken replace "Do you believe in miracles" as one of the greatest calls in broadcasting history? I believe the announcer also said he's a man of the people, which he absolutely is.
Oh, when you get someone food, you're a man of the people. I love free food being attached to sports accomplishments. I had a free Whopper Jr. yesterday, thanks to the Marlins winning at home. It took a long time to get there, but we finally got there. And here's the trick, friends, if you want to know how you beat the system until they figure out this trick, and then you can no longer beat the system.
Gain the system?
Well, one, Burger King gained the system because they have to win games at home. That has been much of a challenge this year. The second, but the way that you as a consumer gain the system, you can get one per account. So if you and a loved one want to go together, you can each order one of these free sandwiches, and then there's lunch for freezies. Went in there yesterday with 2 different phones. They looked at me like I was a crazy person, but I had 2 phones. Lunch on them.
How are you guys using the verb? What is the verb you're saying on blank?
I don't know.
Blank the system? How is it that you were
Beat
saying?
the system?
No, but you
Gaining
said
the system.
Game the system?
Gain the system.
game, not gain, right?
I don't know.
Game the system.
It's game.
You're
Stugotz
probably
definitely said
right.
gain.
Yeah, it's a fun.
Yeah, tax day.
I was just curious whether or not sometimes I get
Good
that
point.
stuff wrong. So, yes, it is to game the system. What would gaining the system be?
I have no idea. I
Well-
would have drained that free throw, though. I mean,
I'd argue, like, in this situation, you gain a free meal, so you've gained the system.
Izzy, are you sure you read the stats correctly? Boban's a 78% free throw shooter
Okay, I was slightly off. 76, but it's
for
still
his
good.
career.
For his career, yes.
Okay, I'm stunned by that.
I explained to my wife over the weekend that there's a Boban Marjanovic, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Bogdan Marjanovic, I think, or Bojan Marjanovic.
And you explained this.
I did. I was trying
And
to
you're still
explain it
married.
at least, and now I just messed it up because I literally was trying to explain over the weekend because of this video, and
At
that's
least
how
your
much
wife is
difficulty
clear
I
on this,
had.
though, right?
We have a good time.
She's so confused.
She loves me.
That's why you just refer to him as Boban. That's
Exactly.
It's easier to do it that way. So you guys thought I was mean by pointing out the size of his ears?
It felt like an unnecessary shot.
Big guy. Big ears. Big guy.
Part
big
of the
nose.
reason
Big,
he's
big
in
everything.
all these movies.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
yo.
if I may, it is against all human nature for a person that size to be that physically fit and run up and down a court with that many muscles. So he is an amazing physical specimen in every other way.
Careful, he can hear you.
And also, his ears are unusually large by any measure. Even if you were to argue that they were proportional, they are substantive ears. They are just substantive.
So then you could have picked any body part.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like relevant element to the story. Like, it had nothing to do with the chicken.
At the time he said it, though, the only thing he could see were his ears. I mean, in Dan's defense.
It's frozen on the screen, and the ears are a little bit distracting. But, okay, fair enough that I probably shouldn't be body-shaming a majestic and amazing athlete because he's got satellite dishes for ears.
We got another sideswipe there.
I thought ears were okay to make fun of, though. I thought ears... They're ears, like cauliflower ears.
Not anymore. No.
Not anymore?
Because woke.
Yeah, just not sure.
I thought the two safe spaces were JPP's firecracker fingers.
For me.
That's also
explosive.
It's also no longer in play. Okay, so that's off. What else has been taken off? What else has been taken off the table? Because I know Rick Ross is going after, didn't he? Is he claiming that Drake got both an ab job and a nose job?
Those are the claims, Dano. He called them BBL Drizzy, even though BBL is something else. But yes, he claims he got a nose job and claims he got I don't know what surgery it is to like implant.
What is
abs.
that?
Implants?
So you can do like implants? So he said he had 25% body fat, but like an 8-pack. I didn't know you could do that.
All the time you wasted doing sit-ups, Izzy.
Unbelievable.
Oh, is it ab etching? This
Sure.
article in GQ says, "Welcome to the era of the fake six-pack."
Oh, wow.
Chiseled visible abs were once something you'd only see on genetically gifted gym rats, but these days a growing number of men are paying big money to have a surgeon do the chiseling for
Rick
them.
Ross is claiming that Drake
Is
paid
that what you have?
$40,000 for that. That's what Rick Ross is claiming.
That's it?
What happened to the days of just getting out in the gym, eating right, doing some core work, right? As a celebrity, you got a lot of time on your hands.
Right.
Do it the right way.
Chuck Norris's total gym. That's how you used to do it. Slide on a thing and pull body weight.
The Bowflex.
You fell for that, too?
And Peloton, of course.
Tony, Izzy,
Not the ab
what do
roller?
you have for me? Jadakiss is mad because J. Cole is sitting out the beef, says beef is necessary for hip-hop. He says, Jadakiss says that he was really dismayed that J. Cole didn't use his skills to fire back. And now Rick Ross is entering the fray, and he's not fooling around, right? I thought he and Drake were friends.
They were. They've got a bunch of really good songs together, but it feels like right now there's been a lot of play back and forth on social media where there's been a leaked track of what could be a Drake response to Kendrick.
Some people think it's AI,
Some
right?
people think it's AI. We don't have 100% clarity on it because we don't know. Drake hasn't come out and said it. It hasn't dropped from OVO. Like, there's some nebulous stuff around it. But something got leaked. Then Rick Ross came out on his own and was like, I'm making this super personal. And then Ross dropped something. So there's a lot of back and forth right now. Drake put up a picture of Uma Thurman in Kill Bill where it's her against everybody in the army. And it feels like that right now in hip-hop. Everybody's going at Drake.
I think the initial diss track response was thought to be AI. This one is official. It's Drake's. And this is what I love about this. All these beefs don't always get me. This one got me from the very beginning because it was basically Kendrick just blowing up and saying, hey, you guys don't remember what hip hop is like? This is what hip hop is like. I'm supposed to say that I'm better than you. I'm better than everybody. And, I might threaten violence. Okay. And that's where J. Cole in the song that he's referencing here, that Kendrick is referencing, he literally said, guys are reading into my lyrics too much. I am not sneak dissing. If I hit you, you will know that I hit you. And what did Kendrick do? He said, nope, I consider that a sneak diss, and went nuclear. And now everybody's in on this. And when J. Cole did his response, it felt like he was just sort of listing his resume, kind of like what Nas did, or what Jay-Z did to Nas. And that to me was boring. But now, when you're talking gossip, you're talking fake six-pack, you're talking Drake sort of throwing this little Easter egg out there to Kendrick and say, hey, I know stuff. I'm going to mention your wife's name. If you come back at me, wait till you hear the stuff that I throw out. And to me, it's a soap opera that is hip-hop. And right now, we're in the middle of it. Everybody is contributing, even 50-year-old Rick Ross.
It's cool because we talked about it last week and all the times that it elevates people's play, right? When you have this sort of verses, it's like, all right, how can I be better than X person? And it feels like Drake let out something that was really good. Like, I heard the track, I thought it was good. Drake is in a weird spot because he has to go back in his catalog and worry about the disses that he's done in the past, back to back with Meek Mill, where that became a banger and anthem for a ton of people. So it was like, how do you best yourself?
Update on the ab etching situation in this article. Apparently, this accusation about Drake has been out there for at least a couple years because someone wrote on one of his Instagrams, Carnage, who's a DJ, said, "You got fake ab surgery in Colombia. You ain't fooling anybody." And now the post is deleted.
Huh.